Welcome to Celebrate a Sister podcast. I'm your host, Emma Walkinshaw. I'm a transformational coach. I'm also the founder of Embody Me program and the creator of 21 Minutes of Morning Magic. You may also find me on the yoga mat leading yoga sessions and also running retreats here in Australia and internationally. Here on the podcast, I bring you some pretty incredible guests. We talk all things self-belief, body acceptance, personal development, outdated beauty standards, and we also call BS on the toxic diet culture, accepting the beautiful bodies we were born into, letting go of all the beliefs, and raising our self-awareness. I also come to you from time to time with a little solo episode, a little Life According to Emma moment. I'm so glad you're here. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Celebrate a Sister podcast. I am your host, Emma Walkinshaw, and this week's episode is a personal one and very dear to my heart and something that I believe I will work on for the rest of my life, and that is my relationship with my body and my relationship to nourishment, health, well-being. And it's been a big theme of my life, becoming a yoga teacher. Some of you know my story that, yes, I became a yoga teacher 9 years ago at the ripe age of 40. But it took me that long to actually say yes to studying yoga, which I first embarked because it was just about my own love of yoga and my own practice. And then working through my own limiting beliefs, my own itty bitty shitty committee, my own mindset saying that it's okay to be a size 14, size 16 yoga teacher, and your body is a beautiful vessel and you are able to practice yoga and enjoy your body in front of a class full of other humans. So that is a little bit about my story, and some of you have heard it, and that's the very, very quick version. Because today I wanted to talk about it's the new year, it's almost February, and it is interesting how different months of the year have different themes for us. And as a woman who is 49 on Monday, it is interesting for me to observe and investigate my own thoughts at this time of the year, because we are bombarded with New Year, and it's just so deeply ingrained in me. The new year, the quick fix for the body, the diet, the next exercise regime, the gym memberships, and all of that noise that is really prevalent, particularly if you do like to peruse on Instagram and any social media. Even just, it's just out there, the vibe is there. So I've been really exploring what this patterning is and this belief system of mine, because I love the saying, a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. So what thoughts do I keep thinking that I now think that they are true? So I've been taught since childhood that smaller is better, and that weight equals my worth, and that having control over my food means success. I am absolutely getting really curious about this and wanting to dig deep. What is this belief? Because again, a belief is a thought I keep thinking. So if I keep reinforcing in my life, and until a couple of years ago, in my early 40s, in my early 40s, I couldn't hear this message. But now I know that there is so much false economy, and it's such an illusion out there in the world that we live in, that sometimes has us, or has me, second guessing who I am and what my worth is and what my value is. So decades of conditioning, and particularly this time of year, I'm noticing, oh gosh, this has been my usual January, February for decades, where it would start to rise in me, the fix it and fix it quick, get this body whipped into shape. So Decades of conditioning has been a theme for me this month, and really using my yoga practice to get quiet on the mat, to listen to my own inner self, that when my voice of wisdom is strong, she soothes me and says, it's okay. It's okay to feel fearful, because fear has been another emotion that I've been feeling. So when I dug into this journal question, what am I fearful of around letting go of the thought that thinner is better, and letting go of the control of dieting, and letting go that food needs to be monitored and restricted. So I worried that, what if I was to really let go? Would I lose control? Would I gain even more weight? That has been a question that I've asked myself. And the intuitive eating too is also, I've been doing lots of exploring around the intuitive eating, and it is a wonderful methodology, but managing that in a way that your belief system doesn't override it. So when it comes to having your belief system override your fear that you're out of control, your fear that you're going to gain more weight, the fear that you will just let loose and it will just, almost like a fishing line, run all the way out before you can start to reel it back in, that has been a real fear. And I find it interesting at the moment, as I start to explore all of the different diets I have been on in the past and what worked for a little while. And honestly, they're all just quick fixes, just simple quick fixes. I don't know if you agree with me, but they tend to hold the weight off for a bit, but then, like the line, I couldn't hold the tension anymore, and then I would lose control because it wasn't in balance. The other curious part of this exploration of decades of conditioning has been the desire for quick results. And we live in a world where we just want it done, and we want it done now. And we all know the most popular weight loss injection or injections at the moment are giving quick results. And that's the other thing about this decades of conditioning that I am working through at the moment is, the frustration in our body. And when a diet promises fast results and you are observing it around you, you think, gosh, is that my answer? Is it the magic pill? Is that the one? Is that the thing? But in my exploration of learning more about the diet injections that are out there at the moment, it seems to do two things, and that is suppress your appetite. And those of you who are listening who are also decades of dieting, remember the pill that everyone took. Gosh, it's escaped my mind. What was it called? And it was speed, and women would lose all this weight and they couldn't sleep at night and they'd be up cleaning the house all night. Duromine, that's what it was called. Yeah, so I think about that, and I think that promised those quick results. And yes, it gave quick results, but what were the side effects? It was an amphetamine. It had speed in it. And I don't know about you, but I don't think that's the answer, but it gave quick results, right? And then when we look at this injection, there's two things that it does. It suppresses your appetite, and it also slows down your digestion in some people. I don't know about you, but I certainly don't want a sluggish digestive system. A poo every morning is freaking winning in my world. I think that is the most wonderful thing that we do in the morning, is a poo. And if I'm going to have to slow down my digestive system, I'm not interested. The other thing about suppressing our appetite, which I find also another interesting thing, I was listening to a celebrity who has been on the injection, the weight loss injection, and she was saying what's been really great for her is that she has started to think like a skinny person. And that itself was just a really problematic statement for me, because I was thinking, okay, so is that what we say now? Skinny people think different to fat people. So she went on to say, or to medium-sized people. So she went on to say that she thinks like a skinny person now, because when food is put in front of her, she has no interest. And I actually laughed at that and said, no, you actually are not thinking like a skinny person. You're just thinking like a person. And you are thinking like a person who has taken a drug to suppress your appetite. That is not a skinny person. That is not a fat person. That is a fat person who has turned off her appetite. The thing with that, isn't it really normal to have an appetite? Are there certain things that we just want to turn off in our body? Also, look, I'm no doctor. I'm just a layman person here. But I would imagine that turning off something in your body like your appetite is potentially going to have a knock-on effect with hormones and all sorts of, it's a beautiful ecosystem, this body of ours, right? I am positively sure that we have an appetite because it tells us when we need to fuel ourselves. And it tells us when we are thirsty and when we are tired and when we are all of the above, aroused, when we are whatever. But our appetite, particularly if you have done a beautiful day's work or a workout, or it is really lovely to actually, excuse me, it is really lovely to actually have an appetite, isn't it? Isn't that a really great thing? Isn't that a sign? So I think to myself, no, not interested in turning off my appetite. I think it's actually an imperative part of the ecosystem of my body because I love her and she is worthy to be nourished and be fed. And she is allowed to give me a cue that she is hungry and she needs to be nourished. And I think about if people are choosing to do that, to turn off their appetite, of course they're losing weight. But what happens when you eventually stop taking that and does your appetite come back? And then what happens then? And we've all heard, overfed and undernourished is an incredible documentary. What about underfed and undernourished because you turned off your appetite? That's a whole nother epidemic, I believe. So the desire for quick results could have us leaning into these, but I guess I asked the question, do you want to turn off your appetite and do you want to undernourish your body? Anywho, that is my thoughts about that one. Also, pressure from society and peers. Friends talk about their latest diet. Social media is full of fixes. And of course, menopausal weight gain and body shape changing. It's not even weight gain in menopause. It's a shift in your body shape, I believe. We feel like the only way to control that is dieting, but the truth is, just like our hormones, they have a natural progression. And you have probably heard my podcast, which talks about the maiden phase of a woman, the mother phase, the MAGA, and then into the crone. I cannot expect my menopausal body, my MAGA body, to want to be that of a mother or to be of the maiden because I've had my time there. That was my 20s. That was my 30s and my early 40s. We move through stages. We cannot turn back the clock. It is a natural part of, that's like saying in winter, I need it to be summer all the time. Or in autumn, I need it to be spring all the time. No, there is a natural progression. There must be spring, summer, autumn, and winter. That's how, and our body is like that. That is just the path of it. The other belief that I have been grappling with about looking into this decades of my conditioning is the belief that health equals weight loss. Healthy means that you are only healthy if you are thin, and it feels like healthy needs to be seen on the outside when the truth is we've all heard that skinny fat, someone can be incredibly thin but incredibly unhealthy. Someone can be in a bigger body unhealthy. You've heard me say it before, but thin doesn't mean we're healthy. It just doesn't. And I've heard time and time again, a couple of ladies that I coach, one of them in particular was telling me about she had a big birthday, her 50th birthday, and she, went on this big eating plan and deprived herself. And she said that she got to her 50th birthday. Everyone was saying, oh my God, you look amazing. And she said, I was the most unhealthiest I had ever been. She said, I was drinking like a fish and not eating. And she said, and I was not in a great state at all. She said, but on the outside, everyone thought, oh, yay. And she said, that 10 kilos that I lost, I've now put on 12 kilos. And, she's got such a beautiful relationship with her body now. But she says, that 12 kilos, it actually doesn't matter. I'm still who I am. And if you were to look at her now, you go, she's an absolute picture of health. She really is. She has a beautiful, healthy lifestyle and has so much balance. So it's interesting, that illusion. Um, Also, my grappling with years of conditioning. For a long time, I didn't know another way. I thought that the only way was to diet and deprive and restrict and reduce and grill myself. So I have been exploring lots of different ways to fuel my body and listening to my appetite and tuning in. And that's part of the path of being an intuitive eater, is listening to your body, not listening to the diet culture, not listening to the program you've been put on, not giving your power away and thinking someone else knows better, when you can listen to your body. And that's why I fundamentally believe that turning off our appetite is not at all supporting a beautiful relationship with our body. Our body is giving us that signal for a reason. The signal is, you are hungry, you need to nourish. So the other day, I found myself, because I'm letting go a lot of old beliefs, diet beliefs, and actually it's a module in my Body Love Bootcamp. This is one of the modules, is uncovering the beliefs that we have, because beliefs, like I mentioned at the start of the podcast, a thought we keep thinking becomes a belief, becomes our truth. We could think anything and we just make it our truth. So this is where we need to really start to get into that mindset of investigating what we believe. So here's what happened the other day. I had a really big focus on protein, because I've been doing some lovely little classes at the gym, and I know that protein is my friend. Also, protein keeps me really steady. I know that from time to time, I will forget to eat and not eat. And then by the end of the afternoon, I'm an absolute fruitcake. I'm off my nut. I'm at this heightened sense. It's like a little episode I go into. I'm all hyped up and I'm a bit agitated. It's because I actually haven't fueled my body. So I know protein keeps me really well. So here was one of the little rules that I uncovered the other day. So I was making myself a wrap, salad and chicken. And I thought to myself, oh, some cheese would be nice with the chicken, the wrap. And I went, oh no, that's enough. And then I went, hang on a moment, Emma. No, you have got to focus on protein right now. So cheese with your chicken salad wrap is actually more protein. But that was an old diet belief, that you don't do chicken and cheese. You try and deprive where you can. You try and cut back where you can on calories, or whatever my train of thought was, because at some stage in my dieting process, actually, I think it was a Weight Watchers, that cheese you had to have in moderation. It had to be low fat. So some part of me, decades of this conditioning, had the cheese thing caught somewhere in my psyche, when the truth is, a lovely piece of cheese on my chicken salad wrap was more protein. And of course, it's going to get me through the afternoon, instead of me then looking for something, or being able to hold the tension for so long and depriving myself, that then I have a blowout. So the focus really is on nourishment, undoing these absolute decades of conditioning and getting really curious. In the decades of conditioning, do I have a fear of letting go of the diet mentality because maybe I'm going to lose control? Maybe I have a desire for quick results, but does that really work? Is that the answer? Is slowing down my digestive system and turning off my appetite really the answer? Have I got a fear of letting go because that feels really scary, not to be in control? A desire for quick results, perhaps that will always hang around for me, but I know that if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. And the desire for quick results, I love the saying, how you lose it is how you keep it off. So if it's quick, dirty, and fast, it potentially might come back on. Quick, dirty, and fast, and more. Pressure from society and peers. Yes, it swirls around us all the time, and getting to a place where I'm quite neutral when people are talking about bodies and diets and lots of different stories that we are hearing, menopausal weight gain, and you should be doing this and you should be doing that. But really coming back to the belief that my health is first and foremost, and focusing on really good protein and movement, and also downtime. My girlfriend and I were chatting, and she said you need more Zen time, and we call it Zen time, actually just taking that time out to think and to feel and to journal and to sit in the sun and have a cup of tea and have no agenda to do anything. That's also part of this, is our stress levels. And it would be fair for me to say that my years of conditioning around my body has caused me an immense amount of stress. Like, I've generally felt heightened levels of stress because I have perceived myself as not good enough, but not anymore. And then not knowing another way. And this is the bit where exploring other ways of looking at your health and well-being, not tying skinny up with health or health with skinny, but looking at a path of least resistant that is more intuitive, much kinder, and about nourishing your body, not punishing your body, and coming to a place where you are in control and empowered in your own choices and decisions. You've not given it away to someone else to prescribe to you what you need to be doing. You've actually taken that into your own hands, because you can be trusted, and so can I. We actually can be trusted to know how to move our body, how to feed our body, how to water our body, and do that in a really holistic, wholesome way that is not detrimental to anyone or your body. There is a beautiful way of doing it. So I hope that this has given you a little food for thought, pardon the pun, trusting your body again, redefining health, finding a way that eating nourishes you without guilt or restriction. So thank you, friends, for listening. This was my own little reflection at this time of year for me, which is, as I mentioned, always quite intense, but I am letting go of my decades of conditioning. I'm taking my power back, and I hope you're on the ride with me. If you enjoy this kind of content, the Body Love Bootcamp is around 8 hours of content of little mindset shifts and processes that I have created, that I've gone through myself working with my own coach, and then designed these as a coach and as a yoga teacher. I've also got some yoga sessions and some visualizations, because I also find that visualizations can really help with putting new belief systems in and new thought patterns in, as we let go of the old ones that we know have not served us for years. So in the show notes, there will be a link to check out the Body Love Bootcamp. It is a pre-recorded course, and you do have the option to upgrade and do a one-on-one coaching session with me, which is really great to bounce ideas off. And I absolutely love to support you and talk about what's really going on for you and start to uncover your decades of conditioning, perhaps. Thanks, everybody. Go and have an absolutely gorgeous February. Take care, and I look forward to hearing from you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this podcast sparked some curiosity and had you thinking. I have worked with women for years, and I've worked with hundreds of women as a coach, a body confidence coach, and as a yoga teacher. And there's one thing that women have in common. Most of us, 96% of us, don't have a great relationship with our body. We judge it, we put it down, and we are not in harmony with it. If you would like a better relationship with your body, I invite you to join me for the Body Love Bootcamp. I have created this course that you can watch in the leisure of your own home and work through the processes in your own time, and then reach out when you're ready to have a conversation. It has 3 pillars. It is about our mindset, meditation to soothe our soul and our sweet, sweet heart, and start to put in some new thought patterns around our beautiful body. And then the third is the movement, which is yoga. One of my favorite ways to free out any stuck energy and start to appreciate this gorgeous body of ours. The Body Love Bootcamp is ready and waiting for you to join. In the show notes here, there'll be a link. Click through. I would absolutely love to have you join me, and I would love to support you and walk the path. Together, we are building better relationships with our bodies, for our daughters, for our nieces, and for ourselves. This work impacts future generations. It's time we take our power back, reject diet culture, question beauty standards, and really look at what wellness means to us. Join me.